Some philosophers pursuing a certain approach in ethics called utilitarianism say that the ability to suffer is the exact thing that we should look for when we think about whether or not something has moral rights. So we'll see work from philosophers like Peter Singer, who say that the capacity to suffer is what's distinctive about those things that we have moral responsibilities towards. So he would say, yes, now that we know that lobsters and crustaceans suffer, we know that we have a moral responsibility towards them. On the other hand, we'll see some philosophers who think that something else is involved. And that will constitute a really interesting way of trying to reply to people who think that just because something suffers, it thereby has moral rights. Today, I just want to introduce you to the different idea that just because something suffers doesn't necessarily mean it has moral rights. So this way of thinking is basically trying to focus on the issue of self-awareness and reason. So is something able to be self-aware and control its own actions on the basis of that self-awareness? That's one thing which some philosophers, such as Immanuel Kant, who we'll later hear from, will say that's where moral responsibilities come from. So in the case of lobsters or crustaceans, what we would have to look for is not its ability to suffer, though that's an important consideration. What's really more important is whether or not it sees itself as an agent acting in the world and can control those actions on the basis of recognizing reasons for and against things. Now, that's important not to conflate this with the ability to have language and report this process. That's not something that, let's say, Kant would think was essential. What's more essential is just, do you control your own actions? Are you aware of yourself as an agent that controls those actions? So some philosophers are going to say crustaceans don't have any moral rights because they're not self-aware and they're not self-controlled by their own faculty of reason. So what we'll need to do when we battle through this question in this course is try and see which kind of moral framework we're more attracted to. Those that say pain and suffering is what's basic, and those who say that self-awareness or reason is what's more important.